Hi there and welcome back. And now joining us live in our studio is the Deputy Spokesperson of the APRC, Mr. Duduja. Dudu, welcome to the FAT Network once again.
Thank you, Sergio, for having me on the show one more time.
Dudu, let's begin on a lighter note. Let's start with Jammeh'S return or his homecoming, something that the APRC militants have been touting on social media for a while now. What do you know about this?
Nothing official, to my knowledge. I'm just seeing it on social media, Facebook and WhatsApp, more specifically. A lot has been revealed. Others are saying from clear sources from Equatorial Guinea, but officially, as a party, being part of the National Executive Committee, I am yet to receive any information about his homecoming or when. It is our belief that sooner or later he will be due in this country. He has every right to do so. On the other hand, it depends with government following protocols and laws of the land what they are going to do with him, but nobody can stop him from coming back. That is our belief, and that's what the laws of the land says.
And in a recent interview, the interim leader of the party, Fabakary Tombong Jatta, has said that only Jammeh can decide when to return to the country. Yeah. Now, between APRC militants touting that he will be returning soon and Fabakary Tombong Jatta, on the other hand, saying that only he can decide when he will come back to this country, some of the people are not taking this in a good way, because they are saying that the interim leader of the party and the supporters of Jammeh are insensitive to his victims. What is your response to that as the spokesperson of the party?
I believe Tombong is just repeating what Jammeh himself said in one of the audios that went viral. He said when his time to come back home is due, no jinkind or mankind can prevent that from happening. In another audio, he also mentioned that when his time is due, it will not be delayed for a second or to be fast-tracked for a second. So that is the exact or clear words from Jammeh himself. That's why Tombong is just repeating what Jammeh has made clear. And what people believe is divergent. People have every right to believe, especially when information is circulating. Others might term it as fake news. For me, there is no fake news. Terming it as fake, you've known the facts. But for people who don't know that it's factual, for them, information is information. And that is also my belief. But when you talk about the victims, again, this is by law. Not only what people say, people can allege, people can create propaganda, people can claim what were not actual facts. So again, this will be binding by laws of this land. You know, coupled with international human rights laws, yes, it depends. The crime or the atrocities being alleged that were committed is also in line with such laws, but not I have to come forward and say, Jammeh did this to me. Was it Jammeh directly? Was there any intermediate, or was Jammeh even aware of what happened to Duduja really came from him, or it even actually happened to Duduja? So you don't just take what people claim and you said, yes, that is it, and you must act upon that. It must be looked at thoroughly and also in line with the laws of this land.
Now, when he left, you know, a lot of Gambians have this assumption that Jammeh broke a deal with ECOWAS as far as his return to the country was concerned. Was there a deal between him and this body? And if so, what does it entail?
There was a deal. I got this document from the United Nations website myself, and I still have this document in possession. That was a month after when Jammeh left, when I came to search for this document, and I got it from their website. It was the spokesperson from the Office of the UN Secretary General who definitely was part of that agreement, which was agreed amongst themselves, which was ECOWAS, the African Union, AU, and the United Nations. They fostered this deal. And it was about 14 bullet points, what they put forward. But 2-3 of those points was just introduction when it started. It dated back when the first mediation headed by His Excellency President Buhari, you know, they first came to the Gambia, when he came with John Mahama of Ghana, and also I could recall Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And the second coming, they highlight why they came and the steps forward. But they went further to put forward that the 21st of January 2017, that was the day he was leaving, and I think that was the day that agreement was concluded. that he's going to leave. And they said temporarily. It's like not a permanent one, temporarily. And in that agreement, they said he will return of his own liking. He has to choose when he is going to come back.
So this takes us back to exactly what Fabakary Tombong Jatta was saying.
Yes, there was no specific date, but they said temporarily, and he will decide when he has to come back. If you go to the joint declaration, you're going to find that there. I think that's point number 12, bullet point number 12. And if you go to other points, like from point 4.5 coming down to 8.9, it is talking about Jammeh personally. Like as a former head of state, he should be accorded the respect that he deserves. And per the laws of this country, and in coupled with international human rights laws, that his assets that are lawfully his will not be sold. His immediate family, his cabinet members, government officials, security personnel will not be intimidated, or harassed to any level by the laws of this land. A lot was enumerated in that agreement, and they said they will work closely with the government of the Gambia, that is UN, AU, and ECOWAS, to see that this will be enforced. But to our astonishment, another point where they talked about is the defense and the security forces. They commend them for the job that they did to maintain peace and stability in the country, and they said they will work with them to make sure that will happen. ECOWAS is strongly involved in the security sector reform. In that aspect, we've seen them playing their part financially, physically, morally, but the other agreements, we don't see them take any steps. It's like for them, it's only about the security, that they are more concerned than the other agreements that they put forward.
And talking about the security sector reform, we have seen that the ECOWAS has decided to extend the mandate of the economic forces in the Gambia until December 2021. And from there, it will turn to a security force. What was your reaction to this news when you first heard it?
I wouldn't blame ECOWAS for doing so. ECOWAS will always pursue their interests, as a body, as an organization. But coming down to the Gambia government, it is like when it comes to these measures and decisions, Parliament are not involved. It's like they are bypassing Parliament. For me, Parliament is a representation of the people, and certain national issues, Parliament will not decide what you have to do, but I believe they should be in the picture. Perhaps there are other formalities Parliament could give, even giving you advice. It is definitely important. But again, the question is still when do we rely on economic forces? Still when? Because it's 4 years and counting. Now, when you talk about, at a later part, transforming economic into a police force, for me, it's something, as a Gambian, it's not acceptable. Instead of you bring in foreign forces, pay them money, give them equipment, and they're well trained to foresee our internal security, to be in charge of it, what if they leave? I believe our own security personnel, these are the ones who should be trained, upgraded, well-equipped and financed, so that no matter how long it takes, the experience, the technical know-how, the capabilities will be with them, and it will pass on to other junior officers rather than hiring from other countries.
And when you talk about the security forces in the Gambia, it's all turned back to President Yahya Jammeh. A lot of people are coming to the defense of the Gambia government by saying that this man still has loyalists in the army, and they will wait for any opportunity, to strike. What do you make of that?
For me, that is just a flimsy excuse. These are Gambian soldiers. They don't belong to an individual. They don't belong to the former president. The former president have served in the Gendarmerie, served in the army. He knows what security is like. When things were more difficult, he has put on that uniform. So him upgrading, and also to make sure that whatever their requirements are, if not all, a large part of it, he provided for them. Now, when you care for people, you show them love and care, and their needs are being catered for, their loyalty comes to you. Since Barrow came into power, what has he done to win over that loyalty? This is natural in any country that you go to. If you don't care about people, they would rather be minding their business. What is President Barrow extending to our security forces? To show them that you are answerable to me, your loyalty should be to me, but I feel they are neglected. And a lot has been happening internally, a lot of discrimination happening within our security forces, some of which are being termed as security sector reform. A lot of people have been even taken out of the army and transferred to either the paramilitary, others have been dismissed based on trial. And for me, these are wrong. Again, you question those in charge of the security. What have they done since they gave them that mantle of leadership to steer the affairs of our security forces? For me, what is expected as Gambians, if they don't achieve it, as leaders, they have failed. it's high time for President Barrow to look inwards for others who can head this army to make sure that national unity we're calling for them to serve this country, will continue to be observed. But the leadership, I think there's a question mark.
And a lot of people say that ECOWAS extending the stay of the economic forces in the Gambia might not be ideal probably to the average Gambian out there, but security experts are not ruling out its necessity. Do you agree with them concerning how politics in the Gambia have evolved and the things that are going on in the country?
For me, it looks like there's another interest, like they are not putting to surface. 4 years, it's definitely a whole lot of time. How many are the numbers when you talk about security in this country? A population of less than 2 million. How many within that population are wearing our uniform? I believe within a year or two, that job of foreign forces being here should have been done, and they should hand over to our own security, who should be in charge of our security. Like foreign occupation or foreign presence, what it yields in the eyes of the people, they are not there to serve the people. They're there to serve the interests of few, that is the president, the government, or people very close to them. The economic forces, we've seen here repeatedly crimes that happen around the country. What do? They come and they are spectators. So if you want to guarantee my security with economic, I would definitely put a big question mark, because when things get out of hand, they step aside and it is our own security that will come forward and try to settle these issues. Why is it taking so long? That is the question. And people will get fed up with them. The more they stay, the more people are going to turn against them. Any security expert or any security analyst should be able to gauge that and to, draw it from experience that happened to other countries. The same people you come to rescue and save, in time they're going to turn against you because they will see a different agenda.
Now let's talk about the issue of sovereignty, because when government came out with this publication that ECOWAS is extending the mandate of the forces, there is something that caught the eyes of many Gambians, which was the fact that now we're not only having people from English-speaking countries as peacekeepers in this country, but we are also having, let's say, French forces. And I saw someone who made a comment and said the only reason they are throwing Ghana into the equation is to dilute the French interest. Do you agree?
Yes, and looking into it, currently the chair or the head of ECOWAS is the president of Ghana. So you cannot create or formulate anything in his country's absence. It would look funny. So this is why they are in the picture. But it is no secret that Senegal, a large chunk of what runs our country, they are in charge and they're dictating pace. It is no secret when it comes to our security, certain happenings in this country, they are in the driving seat. So they will be more comfortable with a French-speaking country like them, who will share the same common interests. Like we have the Francophone, there's also Anglophone. So they will be more specific and concentrated on the Francophone than the Anglophone, because that's what they understand amongst themselves. They speak the same French language. For them, communication would be very, very easy. Let's take into play. Perhaps people will start questioning Nigeria were the ones who championed this economy. Why are they not in the framework now? It is what questionable. Then you look at 4 countries being brought together, 3 of whom are all Francophone. Is definitely questionable, which shows again, like even within ECOWAS, Senegal still has the upper hand in directing and dictating how Gambia has to operate. Others could disagree, but this is my point of view.
So with all these things happening, where does that leave our security sector reform as far as you're concerned?
It is a concern, it is a worry. We all wish well for this country, we wish peace, but government must be in the driving seat. Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. That's what is going to help us. I think national reconciliation is needed. Long time ago. For me, it is long overdue. A lot of things are happening in this country. For me, government has to take the bull by the horn to make sure that people will be united. And it has to begin with the security forces, because they maintain peace and stability. They put their neck on the guillotine for a lot of Gambians to go to bed peacefully, even those outside this country. But we're not showing government being put a lot of interest and to push for that national cohesion as far as our national security is concerned. It is definitely worrying. But instead, you want to leave that in the hands of foreigners. How would they feel? Most of our securities are very unhappy. Not only the soldiers, you go to the police, the immigration, and all other sectors. are they really catered for? What I mean catered for their needs, things that they definitely need. Time and again, we hear crimes, burglary, etc. All they would say, we don't have vehicles, we don't have fuel, our car don't have battery, etc. I believe these are minor issues that has to be sorted out. And our internal security needs upgrading. They need to be trained. Sometimes you see our people in uniform. I've been using that to tease them, especially when it comes to the female category. I said, if I happen to snatch somebody's phone and run, this police officer cannot chase me, and he or she is in uniform. For me, that looks worrying. And I've said it time and again, our security, especially those industries, should be equipped with the simplest of equipment that would definitely be putting them on the alert to suppress crime, like handcuffs, like some of these buttons. They should be having this equipment. And the way they dress should also be worrying. Even traffic officers, they're more concerned about asking people for license and insurance, not regulating traffic, and to make sure at times accidents are minimized. Sometimes you see them sitting on the sideways. They hardly care about how traffic is functioning. For me, that is negligence of duty. Yes, they are human beings. Perhaps sometimes they get tired. But the leadership or the command should understand that people cannot serve the whole day under one responsibility. They should be switching. If you come in the morning up to certain hours, you need to go somewhere where you can rest and others take over fresh. This will enable for duty to take place. But at times in the morning, you go into work. When you close work, it's the same police officer you find on the traffic, as if they don't have other needs. That also has to be looked at.
And of course, certainly the extension of the mandate of the economic forces, it's been accompanied with a couple of allegations. Some Gambians are already saying that this is just one step that the president is trying to use to rig the upcoming elections. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, they should have been more open to give a deadline or a mandate. But if you said until 2021, after the 2021 elections, for me, that is political. They should have said until the security sector reform is completed, then that will become a national issue of security, rather than gauging or putting a time frame based on elections. So people have every right to speculate. They have every right to speak their mind, unless the government need to come out always to clear the air by giving people accurate information and the reasons that led to it. Sometimes it is necessary that you don't put up a pool, but to engage people. And the best place to do so is Parliament. They are representation of the people. This is what we want to do. What do you think? Not you're going to act on based on what Parliament says, just to gauge their views, to see what are people's opinion. If you see majority are against it, don't follow other countries or international partners. They are after their interests. You should look at the interests of your own people internally. It is very important. If not, people will turn against you. While you try to mend international relations, etc., your very own people will rise up against you, create enmity, and all they would want to see is for you to give them space.
And talking about these international, bodies, what do you make of ECOWAS? Because a lot of people believe that they seem to be poking their noses in holes that are not really necessary. For example, we've seen what happened with Bobby Wine recently, and this is a body that was so quiet on that matter. What do you make of this organization?
Before the issue of Bobby Wine, we just track back to Ivory Coast. What happened? What did ECOWAS do? You look at the situation, what happened in Mali. What did ECOWAS do? Many started classifying or labeling them as a toothless bulldog. It's like it's only the case of Gambia that they were willing to do whatever it takes to bring this country to rubbles. They were willing to do whatever was necessary to see that forcefully Jammeh was going to leave or there will be war in this country. That was ECOWAS' stance when it came to the 2016 impasse. But the case of Mali, there is no deal you will strike or agreement you will make that the Malian security will respect. They will take into 2016-17 Gambia's impasse the agreements they had with the former president. Where is it? It's under the carpet lying down. Who is going to listen to them? And ECOWAS is like they listen to more of the West, I would say specifically France, because if you look at most of the funding, the EU, even extending for another 12 months in the Gambia, the EU is paying. And in bracket, you will say France. So it is definitely questionable who is ECOWAS answerable to. Are they answerable to West African states, or there's an upper echelon like the European Union or France in general that dictates the ECOWAS and they're just imposing on us? It is questionable.
And finally, before I let you go, Dudija, let's talk a little bit about Yankuba Toure's case. Some say the ruling today is a big blow to not only Yanks himself, but the entire APRC as a party. What do you make of the court's decision today?
For me, it's nothing surprising, and it is not a political matter. Yankuba is a citizen, and he's invoking his constitutional right, which is in the 1997 Constitution. And I believe situations like such, many want to see the 97 Constitution brought aside and to usher in a new constitution, including the West. For them, they feel like the military junta have been very protective, being very protective under the 1997 Constitution. Why I said it's not a surprise, if you look at the number of adjournments that we're giving and some of the verdicts or the rulings that happened in the past, which shows definitely they were going to use every power within their midst to make sure that he will be suppressed, like the former minister said, Minister of Justice, Tambedou, when he said he was going to throw the books at him. For me, I still have that picture and that trend. It's what is still persisting as far as Yankuba Toure's case is concerned. They're throwing the books at him.
And we've seen comments when the ruling came out. Some people said, well, one down and now next is Jammeh. What's your response to that?
Well, that is up to Jammeh and what charges they will bring forward to Jammeh. You just don't take somebody to court without charges. What would be the charges? We've seen the Janneh Commission, the government white paper. Where is it heading to? Most people are just putting all their eggs on the TRRC's basket, that the recommendations and the report from the TRRC is definitely what is going to bury Jammeh. But what I want to tell them, the courts is a procedure. Lawyers, you take in how you fight your case with the evidences that will be provided. We await for that. But for now, there's nothing I can say much. I always believe in the law, but sometimes the law can be twisted.
And now we are in election year. How prepared is the APRC to return to the State House?
At the moment, we're definitely working very hard, to be quite honest. We're at our bureau on a daily basis. Even on Sundays, we work. And based on the work we're doing and the way we're going to raise funds, that would determine 2021 where we will be. Are we going solo? Are we going into alliance? You know, how prepared our people as far as documentation is concerned. At the moment, we're very busy working. Hopes are there. We're very hopeful that come 2021, we will be the government of the day, or we will form the next government. This we have, but we cannot guarantee.
Headed by who?
Not yet, because we're yet to have a flag bearer. We're going into Congress next month, but not to choose a flag bearer. We believe we have to do our groundwork properly before we're thinking of flag bearer. Are we going to even have one? We're not sure yet. Because at times when you go into alliances, you don't need a flag bearer. If you're going solo, you must be very, very, looking for influential people, not somebody who's been there for the party for a very long time. You look for winnable candidates. There are a lot of winnable candidates. Just suggesting or proposing that X or Y could win isn't enough. You look at a lot of issues about the person. Socially, do they have any negative activities, comments, atrocities they've committed? That wouldn't downplay a choice of, winning the upcoming elections. All this, you don't rush. You take your time, you dig sources, and you help to build them. Because once you market them, it is open. So if there are any tendencies or problems to find you along the way, it will definitely create chaos. So we're taking our time.
It seems like you guys are doing the groundwork for now. And
that
of course,
the
President Barrow's National People's Party will be holding their first ever Congress and their inauguration, of course, this upcoming weekend. Will APRC be in attendance?
Of course, unless if we're not invited. Whoever invites us, we attend. We don't ignore people's invitation. For us, we're Gambians, and we don't allow politics to divide us with people. As far as the place could be, if we cannot send people, we'll pick our people from those locations and emphasize on them that they have to go and attend. Not you come this minute, next minute you are gone. We don't do that. I attended UDP, their Congress, and the instructions given was don't be late and don't leave until the program is done. And make sure that whatever their rules are, you go by that. And people who saw me in that Congress knew fully well that I executed all these functions that were expected of me. So we will attend. Who will attend? We always have executive meetings and we select people or we nominate people to go and attend. If we receive invitation, very, very sure that we're going to attend any Congress or any program APRC. Once we're invited, you will see our faces.
Thank you very much, Duduja, Deputy Spokesperson of the APRC. Thank you very much for coming through to the Fatu Network News Review once again.
Thank you so much, Sergio, for always giving us the platform to answer questions and clarify a lot of issues. And just to use this opportunity also to wish the NPP a successful Congress and inauguration of their political party. We're all Gambians. Politics should not, create enmity in our ways. We wish them well, and all other parties that are yet to hold their congresses, we wish them well and a very successful Congress.
So much for political maturity, and Gambians love to see that. That will be it for News Review today. Do join us tomorrow if you can. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.